Welcome back, my name is CocoaCoCi and today we are playing Scrap Mechanic again. And yeah, today's episode will also be 10 ideas for Scrap Mechanic, and yeah, I will continue kind of MoonBo's and ikey's ideas and add some of my ideas as well. But first of all, I will kind of talk about MoonBo's idea with what I personally think is an awesome idea with. He mentioned painting blocks. Painting blocks is always like, okay, let's paint this panel 16 by 16 and then you have to stop and drag and drop again. His idea was to go ahead and paint the whole area until here in one go, like that. That would be awesome if that could happen, or if the developers could do that, because that would make painting so much easier. Also, cool funny thing that MoonBo mentioned that he said when you have like these big panels and take them on a lift and place them right above you, then sometimes you have the problem that you kind of get a bit stuck under them. Like then, see how I got pushed? Now I have to sneak through that. I actually have that problem way too often, and I think if the devs could just set so the lift gets the block by default when you place it directly above you, like I did, like right here. Well, now I crouched. Let's do that again. Like right now, then the lift should by default be one block higher, so you can easily walk out. See, I got stuck every now and then, so you can easily walk out under the lift without crouching, because that saves a lot of time. And yeah, okay, so that's two of his ideas which are really good. So the other idea was to add pistons, and I've seen picture that they already plan on adding pistons, like stuff like that, just pushing stuff up and down, so we don't need this many bearings. Like, okay, that's an extreme example as you can see, but do you know what I mean? So I would like to see pistons, which you also can adjust. So you can say, okay, I want a piston that extends 20 blocks, or maybe a piston that extends 16 blocks or something. So just as you have like an interactive menu, like you have a thrusters, and then you say, okay, go, maybe the light is a better, or like the sensor. Okay, then say the piston extends 20 blocks or something. Also, the idea of MoonBo was like to get the converter from the WASD to the seat, so you can go with the thrusters from the driver's seat without building extra stuff. Ikey had the idea that you could go ahead and add some extra dots like these green ones, and then you could just drag and drop them. For example, we have like 4 dots here. That was Ikey's idea, that we have like a dot in the front for the W, so you would go ahead and connect that to the W key. So if you press W, like it's right now, then the thruster would get activated, and then you could connect the backwards thruster to the S key dot, kind of, and then you could go backwards. The problem with that is that if you now go ahead, let me get an engine. If we now connect an engine, there we have the forward and backward. So now there should be, with his idea, there should be now 2 dots on the engine, one for a forward key and one for the backward. So I think that's not the best solution with that. His idea, like I posted that on a comment under his video, and he said maybe make an extra seat which is dedicated to steer the thrusters. So for example, we clone that thing, and then we have the normal seat with the 1 dot, which you can connect to the engine just fine and stuff. And we have another with the 4 dots to connect the thrusters, and then of course connect more, or be able to connect more than 1 thruster to each dot. Well, another thing what I think also Retrospecs mentioned was like getting buttons to the seat is always like, okay, connect the first one will be the 1, the second one will be 2, and so on. But now if you're one guy like MoonBo or stuff, or you like to make stuff flying, then you would need to steer with the 1 to 0 keys, and that's kind of annoying. So it would be cool to get a custom setup. So you could say, okay, I don't want to access the 2 key with the 2, but I want to access the 2 or second button like this one. For example, maybe with the arrow keys. So you could go ahead and fly way easier than press all the buttons with the left hand, for example. Yeah, so also what I have to say, what I don't like, Ikey had the idea to get rid of these tool sections and get them by default into the 3rd, or maybe make an extra hotbar section for the tools. So 4th hotbar section with all the tools, and they will be there static. And I personally don't like it. I like it how it is now, because now I have like my standard setup. As you can see, I always have a weld tool in the first, then the paint tool, then the the connect tool, the paint tool, and the weld tool, and in the last slot my lift. And that's pretty much a standard setup, and I'm so used to it, so I'm kind of building stuff. Okay, then press 2 to color it, then build the next stuff, and on the first. So I don't think that's a good idea to make them static. For sure, there should be something like where you can set up a standard hotbar setting, because I also do that. I have like the first hotbar dedicated to building blocks, the second one to all the logics, and the third one to all the decoration and seats and stuff. So that would be cool if I don't have to go into a new world and set up these things all the time. So you could do an individual setup of building, or setup of hotbars, and then you could just customize that setup, or just do it like you want, and then you don't have to do it every time you load a new world or get in a world of a friend. I really liked the idea from ikey07 where he said, okay, would be awesome if I now color something like this purplish color, and then I want to get the white color back. Then just press the middle mouse button and then get the color into the paint tool, so you don't have to open it again, press on white. Because I like that idea, that saves a lot of time. Plus, if you go ahead and get some, I don't know if you guys have done that yet, but you can go ahead into the blueprints and say, okay, I have like this street and I don't like the color in the middle, and then you could just go ahead in the blueprint and set a very specific color for the middle. So if I want to, or whoops, if I now would go ahead and use that specific color, well, actually let me get a better example. Okay, so here you can see my cookie stall for Komodo's theme park, which I've built a while ago. And here we have my specific channel colors. That's my bright brown cookie color, that's a dark brown, and that's the kind of stroke around everything. So when I now go ahead and try to paint that, whoops, okay, never mind, that's the normal color, I guess. So as you can see, now it's like I can't redo that. See? That's not the same. So now it would be awesome just to press the middle mouse button, get the color and just repaint it. So I can get rid of the mistake I just did. That would be really, really cool. Or maybe have like in the paint tool itself, like an extra area, maybe right here, where you can add the code, the color code, or maybe get a specific color as well and save that and have custom colors, or 2 extra rows for extra custom colors. That would be awesome. That would save a lot of time. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty much everything what I wanted to say to MoonBo's and ikey's ideas, and now I will go ahead to my own ideas. So first of all, the blueprint section. Yes, I know. Everyone says like, ooh, blueprints, awesome. But I think this needs way more sorting. For example, in my opinion, there should be something like an extra section right here with some tabs or some icons where you can click on and sort your items. For example, if I press like add an extra button right here, then I could go ahead and see all the stuff I've downloaded from the workshop. So make an extra stuff for that here, and make an extra button for I don't know, like have like maybe 10 or so buttons. Maybe we could add them right here. That's maybe also a good place. So I could say, okay, I want to make a new folder, and then I could have like this own icon here. Then in this folder I can drag and drop, just like take well, not the stuff you downloaded, but stuff for example which you've built. For example, you could just go ahead and drag and drop that into the icon you just built or you just created, and then you could click on that icon, and then it only shows the things which you have drag and dropped. So like the Minecraft creative inventory, kind of, where you could just go ahead and say, okay, now I want to have my own custom thing right here, where I can say, okay, I will put all my vehicles in here, and then I can say, okay, click here, and then I see all my vehicles, and then it's way more sorted. And of course we need a search bar, that's for sure, but that's nothing new. MoonBo and so said stuff already about that, but my idea was like making like extra tabs or icons where you can click on and sort yourself, so you don't have to make here a folder and click on there. Yeah, and also the search bar. Okay, but my idea was like, okay, I have like this this couch, and I use that more because I'm making a massive, I don't know, massive living room, for example, and I need more of these couches, and I don't want to go ahead and do that and do that and do that and then do that, because I need like 10 of them. I have like these moments every now and then when I have like one piece which I need a lot. And then what would be cool if you could go ahead and take this couch and drag and drop the icon to the hotbar. What then would happen if you scroll to the item, it would pretty much do the same as if you would go ahead and weld it. Well, the only problem I see now is that the game doesn't know where to weld it to. It could get a problem if you want to weld it on a bearing, that's true, but that would make the world so much easier. For example, if it now would have dropped, drag and drop the icon from right here down to this slot, to the third slot, and then instead of the icon, or instead of the weld tool, I would now have like the couch in the hand, ignore the weld tool right now, and just could go ahead and do the same kind of like rotate it a bit and then weld it. So I know that is kind of possible. I have seen that in Stellar Overload, where you can go ahead and save blueprints in certain areas and stuff, and then you don't have, like in Stellar Overload, you don't have to lift. You get the stuff you've saved directly in the inventory. That's not a bad idea, but I think the mix between the lift idea and the Stellar Overload idea, where you can just drag and drop items you've built or custom blueprints into the hotbar and then place it, that would be awesome. So the next thing is with mods. Now they added this mod support. We have, for example, let's see, we have it now like different kind of mods with, for example, this mod or maybe my mods, which I also made, and say like, okay, I want this, and then I want that mod, and then if I now would go ahead and load, see, now there's this error saying, too many block types. I hope they will say that, or like increase the numbers of modded block you can have. That would be awesome. But for example, let's go in our world and let's just take ikeys and my mod block, yeah, blah blah blah. So now I go ahead in my world, and for example, if I now, you can see now I have all the modded blocks, and again I have the standard toolbar, which I don't like. But if now a friend would go ahead and say, hey, I want to join you, and I would say, yeah, cool, sure do, but I have these and these mods installed, and then he has to search it and then install it, and then he can join. It would be awesome if he would go ahead, like to the main menu, click on join me, and the message would pop up. You want to join this in this world, you have to install these 2 mod packs. If you click now on OK, it will download them automatically, install them, and you can just join the world. Then it would take a few moments to download and install them, but then you could just go into his world without even going to the workshop yourself. So that would make kind of this mod support thing even better. I mean, that's cool that even a noob like me with modding has now 4 blocks modded, and I'm planning to do more. Yeah, that was kind of the things I wanted to say to the modded part section. The next thing is with the world generation. I have like this problem where I wanted to make a new community city, and I really don't like the flat world because the flat world is really ugly. And you know, in Scrap Mechanic, all these things you can see are like little squares and tiles from the world generation. As you can see, like every now and then you can see where one of the squares stops. Like right here goes one. And I would like to see a more dynamic world than this kind of square copy-paste world. And also a world where you can go ahead and customize the world gen a bit more. So I could just go ahead and say, okay, I want bigger and flat areas in the world to be. That would be cool. Okay, that was the 2 ideas I had about the world gen. And the next thing is the tools. I really like the welding and stuff, but for example, if I now would go ahead and say I want to build this street, and now I want to weld it into the ground or onto the ground. Well, now I really can't, because there's stuff in its way, and I would like to have a button which allows you to weld into the ground. I know then something like glitch welding would come back even better, but now it's like really frustrating. So there are 2 versions to avoid that thing, or maybe 3, because there are still ways to glitch weld in that game. But let's ignore the glitch welding and just pretend we have only the normal welding. Then we could go ahead and just say, okay, we only have the normal welding, so I need to get a few blocks up so I can weld it, and then you can see I can weld it. But now that the street hovers, and I don't like that. The other possibility is just to build it again, but building streets over and over again is really time consuming, and I don't want that. Because I've seen, or I don't know if that was a bug or it was on purpose, but it happened to me that I could weld stuff into the ground in the flat world. So I had like, let's go ahead, like take this massive thing. See, now I got stuck again under the lift. So now let's go ahead and just take, and now I need to configure my hotbar again. That's the thing I need. I mean, like that Even those little things of setting up the hotbar over and over again. Oh, never mind. Okay, you can't do that. Weird. I could do that like a few weeks ago, where I could just go ahead and weld this stuff like that in the flat world. I don't know why it's not working anymore. But yeah, that would be cool if you could just press a button and then it would allow you to weld it into the ground, so you don't have to build a platform to build it or to weld it. And also that would be cool if you could have like a replace function, like a replace tool, where you could just go ahead, click on one creation like this, and then you could say, okay, I want this side, all the gray concrete block, and replace it with the same colored wood block, or maybe with a pink colored wood block, so you because now if you want to swap colors without replacing every block, you would have to go into the blueprint folder and then do it there. So that would be cool if you could have like a swap and replace and repaint tool. If you like, I mean, that could be even one way to kind of make painting even easier. If you could just go ahead, okay, say I want to replace all the dark gray concrete block with maybe, what do we have? Maybe with like this blue concrete block, and then you could just go ahead and swap all the dark gray concrete into this light blue concrete in like seconds. That would save so much time, especially when you build a creation and you say, I don't like the color code or the color combination and stuff. Yeah, and also I think what I should add is a 2x2 bearing, because nowadays like you have like this perfect center of your creations, because otherwise you can't place a bearing. If you have like a creation which is like this, 4 blocks wide and maybe, or 4x4 blocks wide, and then you want to build something that turns on the perfect center of that, you can't do this because you only have like one bearing, or a 1x1 bearing. If you now would go ahead and build for example, you want to make this engine turn around like on the perfect middle, this at the moment not possible, because like as you can see now it doesn't turn around the perfect center. That's something I think they should add, a 2x2 bearing. Okay, to the last point is like the privacy in this game is like, as soon as you have a friend which also plays Scrap Mechanic and he is set to online, then you could just go ahead and join his world. Wow, great. I had this way too often, that just guys without asking just joined my world, and 1 or 2 even destroyed some of my creation back in the days when I couldn't just save them on the lift. So I had to redo them, and that is really, really annoying. And that's why I also kicked a lot of guys from my friend list on Steam, because they just joined my world. And I think there should be a way to, if you join your world, then it's private. Set to private, no one can join, and then you should have an extra button where you say, okay, open to friends, and then the friends can join. That would be cool. Or if you have like dedicated server which runs 24/7. But I think something like this will come as soon as they will add the survival modals or survival mode. And yeah, that would be something, 2 little points I would really like, having a private world which you can go ahead and unlock to friends when you press the button, but not before that. Yeah, so pretty much that's actually it. That was quite a lot to say. But I think, I don't know if you disagree or agree on certain points. Let me know in the comment section what you think, what you want to see next in Scrap Mechanic added by the devs, or maybe by modded stuff, but that's the problem with modded stuff. You never know if they get updated like the game does. So that's only that's the risky part with mods. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all for watching. My name is CocoaCoCi, and we'll see you again in the next one. Goodbye.